I think I tried to find everybody, but sometimes the Zoom boxes move around. So hi, Lori. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, Eve, and I don't know. Is it, did I say it right? Is it Yi Wei Chen?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. And I think I said hi to Deborah, and I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm going to just slaughter it, and then I'm going to ask you to correct me because names are really important. So let me see if I've gotten anybody. Oh my gosh, oh my, Zanelle, I like whatever's going on in the background right there. I don't know if that's an oil painting, but it's really awesome, and I kind of love it already. All right, so I hope you got the sense already that this may be not like your everyday Zoom, especially not everyday Zoom about the Zoomage. I'm Elizabeth. In my day job, I'm the director of admissions at the University of Hawaii Law School. And by night, I teach people to kind of stop worrying and love the Zoom. And I'm going to share with you kind of what's worked for me. And I hope that we'll have some time for you to share back at me and help me up my own game. I am going to show my slides. But before I do that, right, in Zoom world, it's kind of like when somebody shows, hi, Carmen, when somebody shows you slides, like attention goes like this, like, oh, great, the slides. Okay, so I just want to let you know that I picked these slides just for you with lots of care. And there may be things on those slides that you actually want to zoom in and focus on. So I want to give you a couple tips to figure out how to do that. I think I might be spotlighted. I'm now going to share my screen. It's so scary when the sharing of the screen happens. So scary. Okay, and now I'm going to keep looking at you. And when I look at you, I'm going to be looking over at the grid, right? And then I'm going to try to come back and look at you and then look at the grid. And so I never want you to get the sense that just because I'm not looking into the camera's eye, right, that I'm not focused on you. It's just that I get, it's so lovely to see faces. And how weird is Zoom that we can't have mutual gazes. All right, so if you're comfortable, feel free to turn on your cameras. It just makes the room less lonely. And I'm going to ask you to join me before we start in what's called a palm press. So if you have two hands, if you'll put them together in front of your body, right? And I want you to press together I'm going to count 5, exert as much pressure as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Whew. Moving in synchrony and doing things at the same time is a really lovely way to kind of establish that we're in this together. I'm also going to invite you to do something that's really, really scary, but I think will help this next hour pass really quickly. And that is to put away your cell phones. It's so hard. It's so hard to do. It's so hard to do. So for all of you who just kindly turned your cell phones over, bless you, that's lovely. I will say that actually a cell phone turned over is more attractive to you, right? Than one that's turned up, because it's like, is there a notification? Maybe I'm missing a notification. Is there a notification? So actually what I have learned to do is actually take my cell phone and put it in a drawer, right? A wastebasket, a briefcase, someplace where it's actually out of sight, right? And close any of your other browsers so that we can kind of just speed through more tips than you can shake a stick at. Are we ready? All right. Okay, so I'm going to try to use a clicker, but sometimes that fails me. So we'll see what happens. Here we are. Here we are. It's happening. Yeah, not working. See, this is it's a Zoom, right? It's how Zoom is. I have found that it's very difficult for me to pay attention and take in any new information on Zoom. And I'm just going to look quickly over here at your faces. And if has anyone else found that, like it's almost like Zoom, it starts and I'm out. I'm looking for anything that is more interesting. And it's amazing, the peeling paint is more interesting than sometimes what's happening on Zoom. In part, it's hard for us to focus and concentrate because we're so busy looking. So I did a long intro today, some warm greetings, right? I wanted to kind of establish a sense of kind of togetherness, but I also gave you a lot of time to look at me, right? Because we are for those of us who have sight, it's really hard to turn it off, right? And we're so busy looking for just about anything to kind of fill in someone's story. So for example, Are you thinking about, do you want to place me? Do you want to understand where I am in the world? Whether if I'm coupled, if I have children, right? You all of a sudden you're kind of making up the story, and and I can tease and trick you by introducing lots of props, right? That will suggest something about me to you, and you may remember to use that in your Zoom life. So, all right. And I think this person actually might be on the call, but this is my friend's little baby. How adorable is that baby? So adorable. Who does not want to look at a yawning baby? Love the baby. What I'd like you to look at, okay, is look at the lighting, right? The setup, the photography equipment to get this image, right? So a lot of the images that we are consuming, right, are really carefully manicured images, right? And that kind of requires us to kind of think about how we kind of show up ourselves. This is another image I stole. I stole off of Facebook. This is my friend goes to a really large church in Maryland, Prince George's County, and this is Reverend Dr. Whitlock. And for those of you who are on the Zoom who happen to know Jay Austin, Reverend Whitlock married Jay and Tammy. I know, right? Small world. So let me show you. This is what it looks like when Reverend Whitlock is on YouTube, right? At the channel that the church has. And this is a little bit of the look behind the scenes, right? Getting those smooth shots, panning, right? This is intense. It's intense. Okay. And here is a reporter. This is Romaine Bostick from Bloomberg News. He's presenting from his home office, right? But look at this, right? Our experience of him, right, is that he's kind of, he's in a television studio. I'm going to share with you some tips and some tricks today. I don't want anyone to be intimidated. This should be a fun ride. Whatever, hi Luann, whatever doesn't kind of resonate, just let it roll off your back like water off a duck's back, right? And if things are helpful, please pay it forward, share it with someone else. I want to teach you some strategies today to connect meaningfully over video conference, because frankly, if we don't have our videos on, it doesn't really quite work the way it's intended to. Okay, so here is the plan. We're going to look at sound, camera angles, eye contact, body language, set design, gear, makeup, lights, and wardrobe. We're going to do it really, really quickly. So let's get started. I'm going to first by talking about sound. In Hollywood, there's a saying, which is that sound is more than half of the movie. And I have really come to realize kind of the wisdom in that saying over Zoom times. I want to show you what happens when I change the microphone that I'm using. Right now I'm using it's a pretty nice headset, about $100. I'm not selling anything today, but I just want you to experience the difference between this. And now I'm going to toggle over to the built-in microphone in my webcam. So let's see what I sound like now. I hope it sounds like we're a little bit like I'm talking to you through a long hallway. Like you have me on speakerphone. Do you remember when we had speakerphones, right? Right, there's a distance between you and me, right? And it just sounds less intimate. Okay, I'm also going to switch to Lady Gaga, and I'm going to come in from. She's a boom mic. She's above me. I'm going to bring her into the frame. She's golden, like Lady Gaga sang into at the inauguration. Right? She's also super, super sensitive. She picks up everything, including my dehumidifier, right? My cat, vomiting in the next room. So I don't typically use it unless I'm recording. But this is a popular podcast microphone. It's actually the most popular in the United States. And so this sound may be familiar to you if you are a consumer of HPR or Hawaii Public Radio or NPR, National Public Radio, or The Moth. Who out here is listening to The Moth? I just want to see some. I'm going to go back to my regular microphone and see, is anybody in The Moth, Lori, I dream. One day I will be on The Moth. So The Moth is a storytelling platform, and it's really quite a lovely thing. And when I listen to The Moth, I listen to fabulous stories, and I also hear these. And I'm going to look to Lori to see if she knows what I'm talking about. Plosives. When we're talking about pickled plosives on The Moth, Kim Gonzalez also knows The Moth, right? So when we use microphones, we have to be really careful about what they pick up, right? So I actually got this little itty bitty, I call it like the Barbie, it's a Barbie windscreen. I put it on my headset, right? To avoid creating plosives, so those bursts of air, right? That we hear when we're listening to The Moth. All right, so my sense is that this is the powerful example. It's one that I didn't quite understand until I found that when I was Zooming with some people, I found it much harder to concentrate. And others, I found like, oh, I really like their voice. I can, I can hear them clearly. I'm not straining, right? And so consider exploring options. And the way to figure out if it's working is just to ask. So I'm gonna share with you that the next thing that I do is the thing that makes me most nervous about all my Zoom presentations. I want to show you a trick, and it's free. Almost everything I'm going to show you today is DIY or free. It's really more about kind of technique and artistry. So I'm going to try to bring jingle bells into the frame. This is Salvation Army. I want to make sure everyone hearing the Salvation Army. This is a stand-in for my 4-year-old daughter and the other parent, right, who have no respect for my need to Zoom professionally. Hi, Kim Fuller. Hi, Morgan. Great to see you. Anita. Oh my gosh, Susan. Amy. So I'm telling you, jingle bells. So when this is happening, I use a little app called Crisp, KRISP, and you can find it at KRISP.ai right after this is done and download it. It's a game changer. It allows me in Zoom to change to my Crisp microphone, which I'm going to use now. And I'm going to look at your faces. Did I kind of maybe, Jay, come on, stop everyone here. Do you hear jingle bells? Oh, they're gone. It's like magic. It's magic. Okay. I wish that sometimes I had Crisp for like real life, because I can still hear them. I can still hear them. I'm going to go back to my regular microphone. It's great in a pinch, right? When you have to be on. I will say that if you leave your Crisp mic activated all the time, it will actually degrade your audio quality. So I would avoid doing that. And I'm going to tell you one more thing about Crisp. It works both as a microphone and as a speaker. So if you are regularly Zooming with someone who has a lot of ambient sound, right, or a lot of sound in the background, you can actually turn on the Crisp speaker and it will isolate the voice, right? And that can be helpful too, as we are all, we all struggle with sounds. All right, I want you to join me in a little exercise. Another way to actually just up your kind of Zoom presence is to warm up your speaking voice. And I started doing this after I saw, this is a lecture at the School of Business at the University of Maryland College Park, which is near where I grew up. And she has what I think is the best 7-minute public speaking warm up in the world, maybe the only 7-minute one. But I will just say that I spent a lot of time taking hits for the team and listening to really terrible terrible exercises, and I recommend this one. And this is an easy one, but I was hoping we might do it together. If you have time for nothing else to warm up your voice, I want us to do 2 quick exercises together. One is to rub our hands together, if we have hands, to rub them and create some warmth, right? Like little tiny campfires. I imagine we're all like going to make s'mores at our desks. There's actually like a company able to do that. No, seriously, it's called like virtual tiny campfire. Then take those warm hands and put them on your cheeks. You can start moving your jaw around. And big yawns. Just big yawns. Right? So if you don't have 7 minutes, but it might be the first time you've spoken to another human today, which is sometimes the case, but I'm Zooming really early in the morning. I realize I haven't used my voice yet. And so it's really lovely just to warm it up. And so she will give you a fantastic routine, but I love this too. Do you remember doing this as a kid? Some people call them raspberries and others of us called them motorbikes, right? The real name I learned on the interwebs is a bilabial twill. Bilabial, I can't say it. Bilabial trill, T-R-I-L-L. Okay, so I'm gonna do some, and I'm actually gonna ask you guys to unmute for just a moment and do some bilabial trilling with me. Yes, this is happening. You can actually change. Their singers do it on a scale. I can't sing or nothing, but I'm so glad Kim Fuller's here. This is one of the easiest, fastest ways to warm up your voice for public speaking. And now, let me just tell you, this morning, this actual person who's a voice coach and who sang at the royal wedding of Meghan and Harry, sent me a voice message through LinkedIn. I haven't listened to it. because I didn't know if I was going to be able to like make it through this, but you can check me out, find me on LinkedIn and I'll tell you what he said. I think he might have said, stop using my picture of me blowing motorbikes in your presentation. No, actually, I don't think that's not what he said. I think he's going to say thank you because I shared a video of his on YouTube that I found really powerful about how to make connections over video. So here we go. We blew motorbikes on Zoom and it didn't kill us.
One of the other aspects of warming up.
Isn't it just lovely to listen to him? You can't hear him. You can't hear him. You can't hear him because I don't have the computer sound on, but it's really yummy. His voice is yummy, just trust me. It's really lovely. He's a voice coach. How are you doing, Heather? I don't know, Heather. Heather was like, I think she lost me. She lost me on the voice joke, the voice coaching. It's okay. It's all right. We're all done with sound and we're going to do camera angles. And as we go, it's going to get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until we're done. You ready? I want to talk to you about camera angles. You may not realize it, but you and I are both experts at looking at people in boxes. Many of us have been doing it since birth. There are certain expectations about what authority figures should look like and where they should and how they should appear on camera. And I want to kind of like maybe peel back the cloak and let's look and see what's going on under there. I'm going to introduce you to, and the cinematographers in the room, and those of you who have studied film may recognize this grid or overlay that's on top of this, this image is a representation of the rule of thirds. It turns out that we as humans are very attracted and find things that are pleasing, right, in threes. And when cinematographers and photographers set up shops, what they'll often do is they'll draw the viewer's attention to the inner rectangle. Okay, so it's not, so I think when they moved those chairs around and set up this interview, right, they knew what they were after, right? Oprah, right, she's not new to this game. She knows how to work the rule of thirds, which is often why we'll see in documentaries or in big films, right, that the person who's speaking is off center. Okay, I don't know who's watching Nadia Bakes. Where are my Nadia Hussein fans? She is delightful. She made one of the, this is very British leaning show. She baked one of the cakes for the Queen's 90th birthday party. And she has a lovely, lovely series on Netflix. But look at what's happening here, right? Right? And almost every scene is shot this way. On the small screen that we're mostly used to when we're talking about the one that we kind of see or grew up looking at, you'll notice it happens again, right? So I want to give you a couple tricks to kind of zoom like a news anchor, right? Be your own, find your inner Joy Ann Reid. Okay, take center stage. You want to make sure that you are centered in your frame. Okay, and notice how you might feel differently if you were going to be zooming with Trevor Noah and he was really, really close to the camera, right? Close talking, close zooming, it's anxiety provoking. Like we wouldn't normally be that close to each other. But when he's is back but centered, right? We feel more relaxed. Raise or lower your camera, right, to eye level. So here's Neil Katyal. He's looking up at the camera. And I can't see myself because I've hidden my self view. So I'm just gonna, I know I look silly, but bear with me. It's like the Oliver Twist of Zoom, right? Or if you're way up high and looking down at the camera, which is hard for me to do because I'm very small, I'm not as tall as The Rock. He's definitely has height dominance over me. I learned that term from a body language expert. Both of these can actually create anxiety in the listener, right? So now it's not just so much about kind of looking good on camera, it's about wanting to connect with other people, right? If we're sitting around a conference table, we're typically going to be, or a dining room table, we're typically at eye level, right? So I want to look at your WNBA fingers, right? So if you stretch your fingers all the way out and wiggle them, wiggle waggle them, right? I want you to notice a couple things about, one, I want you to be almost touching your webcam. Typically, webcams are designed to work best at kind of close range, okay? I also wanted you to notice what happened when you put your fingers close to your webcam, right? They became very large, right? Webcams distort. And that's one reason why professionals use lots of tips and tricks in order to make themselves look more like they do in real life, right? Whatever, for example, is close to the camera, right, is going to be larger. So for example, a lot of us feel like, wait, is my nose that big? Like I don't feel like my nose is getting bigger over Zoom times, right? And you might see the Kardashians and other people talking about contouring your nose, right? In order to kind of like to create this illusion. I just share it in case you didn't, because I didn't know that was like contouring. I didn't wear makeup in the before times. I've been learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. So here's a trick. Oh, if you have 4 fingers, I'd love to look at them. This is the American Sign Language letter B, right? If you put that above your head, right? And I'm going to talk to you about what's going on back here in a minute, right? 4 fingers, then you're like ready for CNN, right? If the top of your hand is at the top of your video frame, right? That's what I call like the broadcast news posture for Zoom. Okay. And it's great because kind of wherever you are, oh, look at Lori, you made a change. You made a I saw you do it in real time, right? Oh my goodness, right? That little tip, just that, right? Already will kind of set you. And Luann, I see less of your ceiling, right? And more of your face. That's great. And Kim Gonzalez, I see you are very centered, and made some adjustments with your webcam. Right? So this should be fun and kind of empowering, right? We don't all have glam squads. So I wanted to see if I can't unveil some of the secrets. Here's one. Oprah Winfrey puts her laptop on books, right? And that is it. She's able to get, right, that 4 fingers of headspace in her Instagram live. Okay, this is Steve Schmidt, former Republican. He's also using books, right? Fancy, fancy. And here, Jonathan Capehart, who is just amazing, right? He is in his dining room also using books, right? So just getting that right angle makes a huge, huge difference. Okay, we're all done with angles. We did that. Ready for eye contact? Because that is so difficult, right? Non-mutual gazes, when you gaze at someone and they don't gaze back at you, right, creates anxiety. What is Zoom but a year worth of non-mutual gazing, right? It really feels yucky to Zoom when someone's not looking into the camera, right? Even St. Fauci, who I adore, right, has difficulty, I've noticed, looking into the camera. And I think partly because he might be reading, I don't know, spreadsheets and data and things that are on his website or on his on his screen. But look here at Greta Thunberg. She is giving fantastic eye contact, right? Clearly not using a camera that's not attached to her her laptop, but you feel the difference. So right now I'm actually looking at Kim Fuller. It's so good to see you. Oh my gosh. Kim and I worked together 1,000 years ago in the Clinton administration, and I love to see you here. I can gaze at Kim, right, and feel really connected to her, right? But your feeling is that I'm not looking at you, right? Because I find you here, right, in this camera, and that's tough. If you've seen the sci-fi film, I love it, called Her. Has anybody seen that? I'm going to look for nodding heads and throw me some virtual. Yeah, fantastic film about a computer that makes everybody feel like it's in love with them, but it's not monogamous. Like, okay, I think, oh my, that was a spoiler. Dang it. Sorry, I'm really sorry. It's a great movie. But I think that's what news anchors do and what soap opera actors do, right? They make us feel like we know them, right? Talk show hosts, I mean, this is how they make their money, right? And make you feel like you could go out to dinner with them and understand their personality. So I'm going to give you a couple tricks, right? Free or almost free. Really look into the camera, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing it today. I usually make peacocks. So I have a rainbow peacock up right now. I change it up. I don't know if you can see it. I'm guessing that you can, right? I have googly eyes. Googly eyes are great for decorating webcams. This is the one that I was rocking for a while. I've tried lots of things. I have a little box of things to show you here. I gave everybody in my office these googly eye rings from Target in that $1 section when you first go in. They had like a whole bag of them, and I give them out to everybody. It's like, tape these to your webcam. It makes it much easier to make eye contact, right? I will say, if you have that sticky and you write the word like look here, it's not as effective because our reptilian brains are going to look at those eyes, right? It's just human nature. So make it easy for yourself, okay? And hide your self view. Yeah, so this is tough. I'm going to ask you to do it with me if you are joining a Zoom through a computer. I've done that. So I think I mentioned, I'm like, I can't see myself. I don't know what's happening here. I might have makeup on my teeth. Right? I want you to go to your box in the upper right-hand corner. It should be like right up here for me, I think, unless I'm reversed and it's over there. There are 3 dots. And for me, hide self view is the last option. Okay. And what I'd like you to do is just for a second, hide it. I'm not going to be able to tell if you're doing it because your video will still be on. Right. But many of us have been Zooming and having to kind of confront our own visage, right, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, right? And it can be really, frankly, it's not healthy. We were just not meant to look at ourselves for hours on end. I find that by hiding my self view, it makes it much easier for me to keep eye contact because I'm not attracted to the thing I most want to see in the world, which is, get this, scientists, like real scientists, gave people an option of looking at themselves in a glass mirror or a Zoom mirror, right? And people found like every single time people were choosing the Zoom mirror because of the distortion that I mentioned when we did our WNBA fingers, right? We are all constantly going, wait, do I look like that? Do I look like that? Do I really look like that? And that is just going all the time up here, right? So one way to do is turn off the self view, right? But after years of doing one thing, it can be really anxiety provoking to do the other. So let's come back. You can restore your self view, and this is how. Okay, you can click on my box or any box that's visible to you, right? And go up and look for those 3 dots again, and then boom, you can show your self view. It takes practice. And I think I, for one, had to kind of build up my tolerance for not seeing myself until I got to the place where I'm like, whoa, I really like this. And I especially like it when I'm Zooming with just one other person, right? Because I don't have to see me. I can just look at that person. I apologize first for not making eye contact. And then, oh, hi, Amy. Then I can just really, really just, it's just me and my good friend. So if you don't know who this is Matthew Cherry. He's the author of Hair Love, which was made into a really successful short. And it is my daughter's favorite book right now. All right. So for those of us who, I don't know, present slides and do things, look at this little number. It's hard to see because it's transparent. It's a little web. Look at this. I told you I'm not selling anything. No, I'm just telling you this frickin' is genius. I went and found the person on LinkedIn and maybe I talked to him too. Because I was like, this thing is amazing. I tried to do this with like a fishing line and it was not effective. Okay. This little number is about $75. I think that if you work at a place that would buy it for you, I would just say, go grab your PlexiCam because it allows you to put your webcam actually over your slides. And so it's a lot easier to kind of refresh your memory from your slides, but still keep looking at the camera. So I hope that was helpful, right? Again, and another thing I try to do is use a clicker. I mentioned it, and then sometimes it just won't work for me. Oh, it worked. It worked. You did that. Jennifer, thank you for whatever you did to make this work. And I think my phone screen also just fell from the microphone. So, okay, here we go. Now we're gonna talk about body language. Okay, the first person who can name this song or who sang the song gets a penny or puts it in the chat. Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk.
Olivia Newton-John.
Nice,
No.
yes, for the win. Okay, I love it. I have found my people, right? So here we go. It's tough to read expressions and understand what's going on Zoom. There's a New York Times article, which I will send to you if you come find me. I'll send you an article that says, are you that far along in the pandemic where you think everybody in your office hates you, right? Non-mutual gazes, right? They'll do it to you every time. You feel like you're just not in on the joke.
Hey, Elizabeth, quick question.
Yeah.
Somebody asked here, why is a clicker more effective than using the one on the computer?
I'm able to stay back farther from the keyboard, and then I'm not looking to find my mouse because I always lose my mouse. Right, so I'm having to recenter. So I've found that if I use a clicker, I can kind of keep it where yeah. That's why I love the questions. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. All right, people. Okay, little trick. These are images of tennis players. I think they're all tennis players or soccer players. They're players, they're athletes, okay? And they've either won a point or lost a point. So they either made their shot or lost it, okay? 3 of these images are people who won shots and 3 are people who lost shots. Tough. Luann, let's look at number 1. Win or lose?
Win.
Lose.
Ah.
Actually, I don't know, Luann. I don't know. No, I don't. I was just a little joke. I figured it was like Luann and I know each other, so you could feel comfortable. It's hard to tell, right? I mean, it's super, super hard to tell. I actually think it is lose. I think 1, 4, and 6, I memorized it, are all losing, right? And 2, 3, and 5 are winning. Right? But what's missing here is the context, right? We get so much more information about what people are trying to communicate by looking at their bodies, right? This is often the I won the point, right? Like the, oh, can I see some fists? Can I, oh, I did it. I'm the only person doing it. Come on, people, give me the winning fist. I can see you. Right? Like that's like, yes, I did it. Right? If we don't see the yes, thank you, Kim. If we don't see that, right, it's really hard to understand what this is. And I have a certain kind of resting face, and so do many other people. Right. And so that's why you will notice, if now that I hope I've clued you into this, people who are really comfortable in front of the camera will often do a lot of over smiling. Right. So this is also my personality for those of you who've met me before. Right. But over smiling is an art form. And it actually, when I started practicing it, I got like my little cheeks hurt from the fake smiling. Like this, and you'll see it all the time in advertisements. So it's like tampons, life insurance, Greek yogurt, right? Like it's like everywhere, right? And so you'll notice when you're looking at newscasters or meteorologists, it's like it's snowing in Cleveland, whatever it is. It's always this over smile, and the reason that they're doing that actually is to compensate for the difficulty in communicating over webcam or over video. Okay, look at this. Very similar expression, right? Very similar expression. Where do we see the answer? In that clenched fist, right? Winning and winning, and I think that's a cheetah print, losing in the green. Okay, so I'm all about the science, right? So yeah, I just photoshopped myself on top of like a real thing, a real study that was done at Tel Aviv University, looking at people's ability to look same face, same expression, but different context, right? The more you see of my body, right, and my gestures, right, lots more information. So the first one is disgust, dirty diaper, like, oh, I'm gonna like punch you in the jaw. I'm so sad. I'm mourning at a gravesite, and don't hurt me, right? So much more of the reason that we lose each other's and we fail to make connections because we don't see so much of our bodies. So now let's think about like Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, right? Ellen DeGeneres, typically when she's with a guest, she'll go out to the armchair so you can see her whole body. Right? Jimmy Fallon, we're seeing him pretty much. I think that desk is actually really low. I'll have to ask. I'll have to find somebody who knows that set, because I feel like I see a lot of his upper body, right? And that allows me to feel connected to him. Okay, we're done. Now we're on to the set. How are we doing, everybody? How are we doing? We okay? All right. I love it. So work your Zoom room. Okay, I told you I was going to show you my little secret. This is white privilege on Zoom. This is, I'm really smart, and you're about to know it because I'm going to drop some knowledge out of my mouth, and I don't have to sit up straight or like put my dirty clothes away, even though I'm on national television. Okay. Context is everything. We are super visual. Okay. I'm glad Nisa laughed. That makes me laugh too. Okay. So yeah, if you're a musician, rock on with your bad self, right? Absolutely. If your message is going to be about music, that's our expectation. That's why we have like, their local news person, like, here I am in front of the blazing fire. I'm reporting on a blazing fire, right? That happens in Zoom. We make immediate connections. I love this one, which is the Good Law Prof setup books, law books, right? Context is everything. We have to be super careful, and some of us more careful than others. Look here, I think many of you will recognize former Senator Claire McCaskill, right? I use a lot of images of politicos and talking heads. I don't feel like I can make fun of them a little bit without having to, I don't know, make anybody feel uncomfortable. Oh, Anita and Sanjay, I didn't see you before, and Bruce and Paul, I'm glad you're here. If you didn't know that Senator Claire McCaskill was kind of a big deal, right? Zooming in front of her cake setup, right? She's famous for displaying her cakes on Zoom, with her hydrangeas and the coffee maker, right? If you had to guess what she was talking about, maybe it's a cooking show, right? Maybe kitchen interior design, right? But when she's in her living room, this is much more profesh, right? So I just want us to think about what's behind us, and is it on brand for what we're doing? And we don't always have to be on. Like sometimes I'm just hanging out on the Zoom, right? But if this is an interview, or you're giving a presentation, or you're recording something that's going to be in front of the whole wide world, you might want to think about kind of even virtual backgrounds, right? What you're introducing into the frame. So two ways to work your Zoom room. One, do what I'm doing. I'm using a virtual background, right? It's a PowerPoint slide that my BFF made for me. Behind here is my actual life, which I totally cleaned up so I could do this. Like this is right one side, right? And yeah, no, really made the bed and everything, right? This side. But I hope that for today, right, our experience has been, you've really fun focusing on my body, my gestures, my mouth, right? As a way of kind of seeing what's happening here. And I've chosen a really, really staid background, right? So the focus is on me. So think about how much drama you want to incorporate in a Zoom background. If you are going to use a virtual background, right, you must use a physical green screen. Because if you don't, and I'm going to see if there's anyone who's got one who will play along with me. Anyone using a virtual green screen? No, you guys are so great. You're like here in person. I love it. So here's what might happen if you're using a green screen. And you might notice when you see other people, they kind of melt, right? They get that kind of halo, right? Or maybe there's like an eighth of an inch of like reality before it gets blurred out. Okay, it's super distracting. If you're melting, nobody's listening to you, right? So use a physical green screen. This is one that's attached to my chair. I'm actually using a different brand right now, but I find it really helpful because I don't have a huge space, but this definitely kind of protects my family and my real life from Zoom life. I love the virtual backgrounds. And for those of you who are on kind of work, who are with me on work Zoom calls, you'll see I often show up with something new and exciting for people to see. That being said, right, if it's part of what you're trying to do on purpose, which is to kind of give you visual cues, virtual backgrounds are really important. So if I'm working at a law school and here I am in front of a brand new building, right, that's completely on message, it's contextual, it makes sense. Right? Just be careful because people may respond differently to images, especially Lux images, in ways that might not be expected. So I have a friend who, like, whenever I'm Zooming with her, she's in this like Lux penthouse, and I'm like, but that's not where you live, right? Like, and I'm just like, why would you? That's just something awkward and inauthentic about it. And maybe I'm not really big about flexing, and so I'm having all these other feelings about my friend, right? That are, about maybe I'm questioning her choices, right? So I just say, I want you to be conscious and think about what it is. Zooms are really messy, right? So if I'm just looking at you, I see inside shots, outside shots, reflections, right? There's a lot going on in Zoom. And so one way to help people kind of keep their attention is actually by zooming in a really boring way. Oh my gosh, my baby's crying and I can hear it. So I gotta come back.
Elizabeth, quick question.
Yeah.
What green screen brand do you use?
Oh, this is the one that's in the picture. Thank you for the question. Is the Web Around. And this one, if you said, find me on LinkedIn because I have a list of the products that I use and I change it all the time because I kind of I get sick of one thing and find another thing. Both of these products are available on Amazon. Thanks. That's a great question. So option number 2 is to stage your Zoom room. And I thank RoomRater for being able to use so many of their images here. If you look at here, we have Edward Snowden, right? The thing about white walls is you want to avoid having a shadow cast on them, which creates kind of this ominous sense, right? And here are 3 frames. And they're just 3. And there's actually like a WikiHow article about how to hang 3 frames. I know because I had to test it and it works. There is in fact a formula, right? And follow it use some command strips and you can totally stage your own game. Who is watching DJ Cassidy? Am I the only DJ Cassidy fan in here? I want some love for DJ Cassidy. Oh my gosh, he is like if COVID times had lemonade making, it would be DJ Cassidy. He's this truly adorable character and I don't know, famous for DJing. But he does this special on BET and I watched them all. It's interesting because I think as he's gotten more successful, he's gotten a bigger budget. And I am working on an entire Pass the Mic Zoom program, only using examples from Pass the Mic because it's done so beautifully. So what happens is DJ Cassidy passes the mic, right? From folks who sang when I was listening to the radio in high school and college, right? And I have this I was like, oh my gosh, look at that person, where are they, right? Each background is curated. These are kind of like Zoom 10 out of 10s by RoomRater. Right? They're symmetrical. They use lighting for effect so that the fire that's behind Johnny Gill, right? And I'll be sure you'll see there's candles. They are not actually lighting they're not the light that are lighting him, right? This is absolutely artificial continuous light, right? But the light decorates the space. And so you'll often see that on beauty vloggers, for example. You'll see candles in the background, right? Or those fairy lights, right? Kind of creates a sense of atmosphere. They're always centered, always right on the median. Your eyes will always be at the top of the screen, right? Beautiful. And I think it's all rented furniture, or they're all in one big McMansion. I haven't decided. Like if they just bring people in and masks and have them go to different sections. And every once in a while you see a real house, and you can tell because there's like electrical cords. That's a huge tell. Like, oh my God, that's a real house. So yeah, it's super fun. I don't think that's Chaka Khan's library. I just don't think it is. But so notice how I actually was showing you something that I do when I'm Zooming, right? I'm not just thinking about the person I'm interested in seeing. I'm thinking all about where they are and what they're doing and who they're with, right? It's a totally human thing.
Elizabeth,
So yes. Mhm.
Hi, Elizabeth. You're amazing.
Hi.
I agree. I work in career services. Should students interview with virtual backgrounds or not?
It absolutely depends on the situation, right? It may be that actually just setting up the student with a plain virtual background with the school seal or whatever and making it, everybody use this. Well, if you do that, it advantages people who have physical green screen backgrounds, right? And people who don't. I will say that you can go to Long's or Walgreens or CVS and get those green poster board that your kids do. For some of us who have kids who have projects, stick those on the wall, instant green screen. I think some people will look if they don't have a physical green screen, then it's melty and that's distracting for the interviewer, right? You have to be really careful and counsel students about what's their brand, what are they trying to communicate, right? So even just, not all virtual green screens are virtual background images, I think, are created equal. And so, oh my gosh, I could go on, but I hope I answered the question, Heather. Was that helpful? I'm hoping. I think the question came from Heather. All right. So when you're setting up your physical, and if not, come back to me and we'll follow up. I'll talk more about virtual backgrounds. When you're setting up in your home, right? These are some keys, takeaways that we'll just make. First, face the window. The most flattering light you're ever going to see is going to be natural light, right? Face it, because if it's coming at you from the side or behind you, right, it can overlight the shot or make you backlit. And if you're backlit, we can't see your expressions. Shoot into a corner, right? Creates a sense of depth in your shot, okay? And it also helps with avoiding motion, right? Less likely that someone is going to move behind you, right? If you are shooting into a corner. And I'm going to see if you can see this. There's motion here above breaking news. Do you see that? That's a little Cocker Spaniel. See that? Right? If there's any motion in your Zoom box, right? It could be a fluttering flag, palm trees in a virtual background, right? People, children, right? Nakedness, anything it's going to distract from your view. So you want to minimize motion in your shot, okay? You also want to avoid doors. And I'm going to tell you why, because I was like, really? Why do I have to worry about doors? I want you to think of doors like visual whack-a-mole, right? Like the more doors you see, actually, the higher the anxiety in the Zoomer, right? Because now I'm like, wait, which one's going to open, right? So is it going to be this person on the left or the right, or is it going to be Jennifer? Because I think you've got two, right? Like, is somebody going to walk behind Nisa? This is it's just human nature, right? So one way we can help people pay attention to us and focus on what we have to say is actually just avoiding filming in front of doors. Okay, I'm going to change it up because we've been using kind of the same cadence, right? The same speed, which has been all the way, right? That is, and so now it's like, where's the phone? Is she looking for the phone? Oh, wow, what is she doing now? Is she fanning herself? Is it that, and it's a broken fan? She got it at the thrift store, 50 cents. Oh my gosh, that is enough to invite you guys back. Right? Just changing something, right, is enough to re-engage your listener. Okay, avoiding doors, right? Tilting to remove the ceiling. This right here, people, is the mark of a professional Zoomer, okay? You never want your ceiling in the shot, right? You've never seen Rachel Maddow's ceiling. I bet you haven't. I bet you've never seen Rachel Maddow's ceiling in their studio, right? In the studio. Studios don't have ceilings, right? They have lights. They have lights up there, okay? And if you want to see somebody who has an incredible Zoom game, follow Representative Clyburn from South Carolina. He should get like a freaking Emmy for set design every time. Every Zoom I've ever seen of him is priceless. So if you can avoid it, And then to screen test. I would absolutely have folks who are preparing for interviews actually screen test your shot with them at the same time of day. That's key. It's got to be the same time of day. Because look at this. I love AOC in a lot of ways, but wow, this just, underperforming here, underperforming, right? Not on brand. You'll see that just, right, adjusting the camera, right, looking forward, having it not look like you're borrowing, somebody else, the corner of somebody else's room, right, really creates kind of this. This person has created this is Brittany. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm squinting. This is Brittany Packnett Cunningham, right? Wow, it is like polished. It's together. She knows exactly what she is kind of giving in terms of her Zoom. We're done. Now we're going to look at gear and funny pictures of me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. It might be that you own something that will give you better video quality than your built-in laptop. Okay, so here we go. Here are two that are just right at the ready. One, your smartphone. Almost everyone has one. I asked you to put them in the wastebasket or the whatevers while I was speaking with you today. But this little sucker, this is a powerful camera. Okay, another thing that people don't realize they can use as webcams sometimes is a DSLR mirrorless camera. So if you have one, if you're a hobbyist photographer, you could, all the bloggers and the gamers who can put together $1,000 will get this set up, right? Which is the DSLR mirrorless camera and then a really, really big lens. Okay, this is me. This is how I started my Zoom experience. The first one was $70, right? Junk of a junk. Do not buy this. Do not buy this Logitech webcam. It is trash. The second one, okay, is the front facing phone on my camera, right? Versus the rear facing. The rear facing camera, right, is much stronger. So you can use actually a mirror, right, to get the positioning right? If you're going to be using this, and then you'll want to use a tripod so you can have your camera's not moving. And then finally, this is like the Queen Mother of webcams. It's still not perfect, and that's the Logitech Brio that I'm using right now. Okay, whatever you have, just clean the lens because it has a really sensitive, those photo sensors in there, right? It really they work much, much better if they aren't kind of going through my SPFF lotion and my antibacterial gel and the sand that's gathered in the bottom of my purse. So I will just say I clean them with, I told you I had props. I use these, I use this, which is like a little, the thing that comes in your eyeglass case. And then I love these. I was in Germany last year and I stayed at a hotel and they handed these out. These are little alcohol swabs for eye cleaners. Shut the front door. Like I need that every morning. I'm checking out the hotel. Like I could clean my glasses. Right. So same thing works on a camera lens. For those of us with the melanin, I will tell you that webcams, just like Kodak color film, right, was not created with us in mind. And so for those of us who don't have kind of the standard issue Caucasian skin, there are changes that you might choose to make in order to change the way that your video camera works to kind of to capture you more realistically. If that is interesting to you, just throw me a line on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to kind of send you some suggestions for things that you might do. If you're interested in learning about fantastic cinematography that's really accurately capturing our skin tones, I would say check out Insecure on HBO. They're really doing groundbreaking work. And if you're interested in the racist origins of color film that was created actually to capture a white woman, Shirley, the Shirley card is actually a woman named Shirley. And get this, little known Black history fact. Are you ready? Kodak made changes to how browns appeared on film in response to complaints from white people who manufactured wood, who said their wood grains weren't showing up in advertising, right? So it was actually only as a result of that, right, that Kodak was able to make strides in capturing Black skin. Fascinating stuff. All right, let's do makeup, people. I'm going to talk to you about the makeup, and I think I mentioned this and I mean it. Kim Fuller knows I did not wear makeup in the before times. I was like a non-makeup wearing, never wore makeup. I think I wore some lip balm at my wedding. Like I was like a no makeup. I just am not about the makeup, not about the makeups. But when I want you to think about Zoom and being on camera, right, makeup has a different purpose. Okay, so I want to talk to you about what that might be. And this is kind of the best makeup of all. This is face yoga. So, okay, we're going to do it. Yeah, we're totally doing it. We have 8 minutes. We're going to do some face yoga. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ah, okay. So get this. I wanted to find an African-American woman doing face yoga. Not only was I able to find this on YouTube, but she's on my island. She lives in Honolulu. What are the frickin' chances? So you know I sent her a message, but she has not sent me a voice message yet back on. But I got to keep checking to see if she gets me. So I'm going to just go through these exercises, which are really great for tightening the muscles in your face, also warming up your voice. So here's an So whenever I'm in a hiring situation and people are like, there are no diverse candidates, I'm like, I found an African-American face yoga person on this island. Don't talk to me about no qualified applicants. Okay. Face yoga actually is probably, no, like for real, like face yoga totally works, like tightens all the things. I'm telling you, look at this woman. She's like 57. Okay, she's 54, but oh, come on. Look at that. No, I think she really is 54. Maybe she's 47. She's old. She's like, I'm 47. So I'm just saying, whatever she's doing in the bathroom, I'm all about that. Beauty tip, don't be racist. Racists are ugly. Moving on to makeup, right? I want you to think about your, so I don't think, right, that Don Lemon wears makeup in real life, but his job is to be on camera and under really, really heavy lights. In order to account for that and to appear kind of 3D and 2D, right? He uses makeup, and they all do. Anyone that you see on TV, anyone is using makeup. Okay, this is a reporter who I love that she shared this image of herself. Right, she's doing 2 things primarily. She's darkening her eyebrows, like I've done today, right, so that you can read her facial expressions, and she's darkening her lip, right, so that we can more easily read her lips. Okay, these are very strategic. Right. The other thing I think she's probably doing that gets hard for me to tell if she's using under eye concealer, but she's definitely using mascara and eyeliner. Okay. Here's the difference between Don Lemon if you saw him on the street or on the red carpet, right? And Don Lemon under TV studio lights, right? He's wearing a lot of makeup. Why? Because the lights that we use in television and video are going to wash out your skin color, take away your skin color, like my Logitech webcam is actually trying to do, right? So in order to compensate, right, darkening his skin. Okay, same thing for Rachel Maddow, right? This is across skin colors. Here's Rachel Maddow on the red carpet. Well, I call it the red carpet. She's a serious XM, and she's like recording something, so she doesn't have her stage makeup on. And here she has stage makeup because she's on stage. Right? So rather than kind of get if makeup is not your thing, do you? What I want to introduce to you is this idea that it's like comparing your B side to everybody's A side, which is what my mom says about social media. Don't listen to those people, Elizabeth. They're not all happy. Right? It's like, but that's I think what happens often is we see ourselves on Zoom and we're like, why don't I look like this? I've dolled myself totally up. I have, I'm wearing my favorite thing and I don't look like this. Okay. So here are some, and I'm telling you, people, the YouTube's built for this. Right? Look at the difference. This is look at the difference between this person. He has bags under his eyes, just like the ones I have. We have like matching bags, right? And just under eye concealer. That's all he's wearing between this and that. The other thing that he did was blot oil from his face, right? Which is another big thing about television. You'll never see people who are kind of glistening, right, on screen. Okay. Similarly, different skin tone, right? Also, this is a makeup for television. So he has got redness around his eyes and mustache, right? He's been able to use a powder, right, to take away that shine, right? He's defined his eyebrows. He's filled in his beard, mustache, right? Also used under eye concealer and mascara. Right? We're just so much more used to consuming images of people who are wearing makeup on camera. Do you need to have a glam squad? No, but I will just say this is Zendaya's all African-American glam squad. You can do it in Zoom. There's virtual makeup, whatever's clever. Do you, whatever makes you feel better. That's, but I learned from my law school admissions colleagues, these tricks. So look at this. This is packing tape, right? Put that little beauty filter. Oh my goodness. I look like I'm on the Golden Girls. Okay. Similarly, Vaseline, which they actually did in Hollywood, right? To get that kind of that look, that gauzy look. Also creates distance between you and the viewer. Okay, here's what I use, because weren't you all dying to know what, Elizabeth, what are you using? How do you look like this? Number one, natural sunlight for sure. Okay, number two, Lumify, which is like an eye drop that keep, right? I use a facial mister. This is a fancy one from Evian, but you can just use this like the one you use when you're ironing, right? Oh, I just feel, lovely. Blot any places that glisten, right? So I could do that with these. See these little things that look like this when I in my store, oil blotting runs. If you don't have those, I will just tell you, toilet seat covers in federal buildings, state buildings, you can use those. That's the same material. Recycled napkins from Starbucks and McDonald's, perfect oil blotters. Okay, I drink water in a clear glass where I look better and more hydrated. Right, I use a lint roller because I have a cat, so come on. I use a fan because I'm a woman of a certain age. Okay, and I feel more confident when I wear perfume. This is a hack that I stole from a television local newscaster who said to make herself feel like she was ready to be on camera, she would put on perfume. I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I will wear perfume. Okay, and then on my face, I'm wearing an under eye concealer. Brushed my eyebrows. Right, this is huge because you never know how big your eyebrows are going to be on Zoom. Have you ever seen like a conference where they have the person's huge face and it's like a stadium-sized television, huge, like each eyebrow is like 6 feet long, right? Mascara, a cream blush, not powder because it doesn't look good in front of on the camera. A bright eye color and nail color and I was doing my nails, as Nisa knows, right before because I think it just adds a little bit of a polish. It's a trick I learned from Bobbi Brown, the makeup lady. Right? Why do we care about our lips? Because we're easier to follow. This is Professor. You can see how clearly she's enunciating. And then don't forget to smile because that's kind of like everything, right? We talked about the Greek yogurt and the tampons, but this is like a real thing. Yeah, that's not really Eminem. He would never actually smile. Okay, here we go. We've got 2 minutes and we are going to rock those 2 minutes. When it comes to lighting, all your sole job is to remove shadows from your face. The best way to do that, that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting in front of a big old window. Okay. Turn off your overhead lights, people, right? Overhead lights are going to create shadows. Where do they create them? Right? Bags under your eyes, right? They're used in Hollywood to age actors, okay? Overhead lights, never flattering. So turn those suckers off, right? Second image is just diffuse light, just window light, white lights coming in the world, already better than number one. And the last one is just this with a little lamp, just with the lamp. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's right. Everybody get a lamp. Oh my goodness. I came to the whole thing. She said, get a lamp. Get this lamp. Get this lamp right here. This is Tautronics, the perfect zoom light. It is actually the perfect zoom light. I would demo for it. I'll demo for it. Just call me later and I'll demo for it. It's amazing. And it collapses so it's a little flat and you can put the color temperature up and down. It bends in all the different ways. This is what you got to do. Ring lights, whatever. Okay. If you're going to get serious about having kind of a home studio situation, then you want to get what I call the Django. This is a scene from Django Unchained. Okay, this is one of my favorite scenes. In fact, you'll notice that the cinematographer, lighting director, is using a paper lantern because paper lanterns give great light. The closest light you're going to get to sunlight that you can get at home typically is going to be in a paper lantern, and they're cheap as all get out. Right? So once you have your paper lantern, once you have your Django, and whoops, we're right on the hour, you just want to make sure you have the right color temperature. Okay, here we go. Don't mix your colors because it'll mess up your webcam. Oh my gosh, this is really happening. Try not to have glare in your glasses. The answer is just to tilt them or the monitor. And that's it. I'm going to stop my share because Oprah is a great place to stop. Right? I want you to look at these two images and I want us to just take a second. Right? In the first image, the glare in her glasses actually keep us from making a connection with her. So right here, I'm like, great, you got another award, fantastic. Stick that award up where all you keep the rest of your awards, right? But this one, I'm like, she got an award, that's awesome. And she's sharing it with me, right? She's looking at the photographer. She like feel that, right? The excitement, right? I'm able to make a connection with her in this one. So if you can Zoom without glasses, do it. If you need to see, I got you. What you want to do is just clean those lenses, right? Move any key lights out away from your webcam until they don't show up, right? Lower your monitor brightness to night mode. Oh my gosh, that was it. I just did it. It's over. Oh my gosh.